And welcome back to the Good Day Matrix. My name is Daz and I have the ultimate privilege today of being here at Microsoft New Zealand with Samar Alrayyes. So thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you so much,
Samar.
Daz. It's my pleasure.
Samar is an executive leader in business and technology working around the world. She is mum and advocate for fair opportunities. Samar is the co-chair for NZ Tech Women, an active member of Women at Microsoft, and an active participant in the Diversity and Inclusion Council at Microsoft. Samar is an advisor for a number of startup boards to help ensure that they can be guided to growth, which is pretty amazing because I've been the startup and it's really hard to get that kind of knowledge without someone telling you that their hourly rate is something exorbitant that, you know, you cannot afford.
Try.
So that's awesome. But thank you so much. So today we're here to talk about wellness with you, and why we do these interviews is to try and inspire somebody else. There might be something that they hear from you that they're like, I could actually go and try that for myself, or I didn't understand that about somebody else, and help share some perspectives about things that we're not necessarily schooled up on. So we'll go through our 5 pillars. So we'll start with body, and then we'll go to mind, identity, community, and environment, and then, yeah, I'm sure we'll learn so much along the way. So body is something that you've been struggling with lately because you've got a lot on your plate. So what are some things that you really enjoyed doing prior to being so busy? So what were the things that really gave you joy to do with your body?
I think we discussed that the pillar a bit. It's been a bit hard when your mind is not focused and not covering the body part, and I guess they're very connected. I would love to be the person who has that discipline where you actually, you know, have a time to exercise, or you make the time to exercise and follow that lead and do that. And just to add to this, my son is going to turn 8 next month, and that's going to sound so silly, but I'm just going to say, so he's a fan of Pokemon Go, and he plays all the time. And I've realized that maybe something that we can, you know, connect on and actually build exercise behind it, because you need to walk to make, you know, all the eggs hatch, and people now will listen and go, what's going on?
No.
Yeah, so I've installed the game a couple of weeks ago and started playing, and now we go on walks every time he's with me just to catch Pokemons, and we're walking again, which is fantastic.
Brilliant.
So we just started, I guess.
Yeah.
Before that, I used to sometimes go and play badminton, and now I'm trying to get him to also to get hooked to it. Hopefully he does.
Nice. Can be a team activity.
Yeah, I know he's young, but it's just it gives us also a common discussion, so we can help each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to be, again, honestly, I would like to be disciplined, where I have that part of my day or my week where I focus on the wellness and the health of my body, because I know that it's very, very important, and I've been neglecting this, and I would say it for years, and it's not a good place to be. The problem is that when your brain is busy and your mind is just in a different place, you don't realize that's impacting your physical, you know, wellness as well. You just realize it late, and this is what's happening, is that after years of being in that mental state, I've now realized, oh my God, what just happened? This is not where I want to be. So yeah.
And it's when those wheels keep spinning, right? We're always like that business as usual, like same old, and it's hard to step back out of that when
when you're in the middle of it.
You have to keep going at the same time.
Yeah, and you live like day by day, not thinking what's beyond, but now it's time to just pause and think into, this is not how it should be. There's more to it. There's definitely more to it. Yeah.
So, I mean, we've already linked to mind, but we'll move into mind. So you've been having a really tough time lately, and one of those things that we've got to do is communicate and sort of share what's going on, so that we can A, get some support and help around us, but B, get some different coping strategies or hear different perspectives about what's happening. And someone who's been pretty amazing for you was Sarah Bowden. So tell us about how she's empowered you to share your story and talk about stresses.
Yeah, so there are like different aspects to this, right? So there's things that I don't speak about publicly, but I think it's just time. It's part of our journey. I've realized that the journey matters as much as the destination. And that's how we do the learning. So yeah, I've been struggling for the last few years actually now, looking back, and separation and divorce, which if you're not in it, it's very hard to understand how stressful it gets, and you can't see it when you're in the middle of it. And it takes a lot of energy that when you look back at it, you go at your decisions and you go, how did I reach that decision? But it's complicated, let's put it that way. But the other part is that I come from a different background, and I've always, when we came to New Zealand 7 years ago, a bit more now, I've always thought that this is not part of my discussion, so I shouldn't be ever talking about it. It's I don't want to be judged over my story. So when I moved to Microsoft 4 years ago, I was under that discussion where I don't need to share it. And Microsoft really pushes us and help us to be authentic and be, yourself, and bring all yourself to work. And I remember when this started, so Sarah was the one who hired me to Microsoft, and after a year I was trying to get into my career development plan and working through this, so I had to present to the execs and the leadership team. And I've built, those slides where you go, this is my professional life, this is how amazing I am, and all of this career stuff. And she looked at them and she went, nah, you're not presenting this. I'm like, well, this is my career development. She's like, no, we need to know you. You have to speak about where you, how did this happen? Where did you come from? What made you who you are? And it was like a shock into, no, I can't speak about this. It's I'll be judged. It's not the right thing. And she goes, no, you have to put pictures. Tell me about your family. Tell me where you come from. And probably we might talk about this later, but it's just a little bit different than how Kiwis are used to. And for me, that was a moment of oh my God, I can't speak about, how is that going to work? And it was very uncomfortable at the start. The first slides made me in tears, put me in tears, and I didn't know how to present them. Then when we talk about it a few times, and I did that, pre-presentations to prep, and there was also our HR lead at that time checking on that, and then Carol started to be there, which is now my boss. And it just turned out into, we have to do the uncomfortable sometimes, get out of our comfort zone to reach a stage where we're way more comfortable after. And from that moment, I'm now happy to speak about my past because it made me who I am, and it shaped the person who I am, and it basically is affecting and impacting the future of the people around me and my son, because I bring my experiences and I transfer the things that I learned to him. She changed my life. From that moment, now I publicly speak about where I'm from and how my journey looked like, and I hope that people who have a journey get the courage to be in that position, because it feels much better. Because there's nothing that you need to be embarrassed of. This is exactly where you should be. So yeah.
Incredibly powerful message, and it leads us beautifully into identity, but that's what we talk about, is it's knowing who you are, it's understanding all of the different things that have happened and where you've come from and what your mum and dad have done, and all those things, because they shape who you are. They shape who you are in environments and how you react to triggers, and what brings you stress or worry is, if we don't understand that, then we can't manage that and almost build our coping skills around how to do that and move forward, and people to understand us. So tell us about where you've come from and tell us about your journey, because it is, when I was talking to you about it, I was welling up with tears through the computer screen about
that was not the intention.
I know. No, it's but it needs, it was almost, it showed me how much I almost have lived under a rock of not understanding, or having a small understanding but not really digging in and sitting down with someone and asking genuine questions to understand what has gone on and what's led to this point, and what was that experience like. So talk to us about the war, talk to us about, oh my goodness, all of those things, and then how that's led you to be so, such an advocate for women and to lead change.
It's a humble story, and there are millions of people that share not even the story, but I can't even imagine how much worse situations and challenging situations that they're in. So I am in the Middle East, and where I come from. I'm from Jordan in the Middle East, or Palestine, depends on who's listening, basically, and who wants to consider what. In the Middle East, we don't get citizenship on merits or where you sit or where you get raised. We inherit it from parents, and that's the only way, or through marriage, and the man is the only one who gives you citizenship. It's one way. So my father was born in Palestine, and he's Palestinian, so that makes me Palestinian. I was born in Kuwait because my father was working there, and this is where they lived. And I am one of 3 girls, and I'm the youngest. So the 3 of us were born in Kuwait, but we were holding an Egyptian travel document for Palestinian refugees because Egypt ruled Gaza for a while. Politics, let's put it that way. So I did not belong to Egypt, nor Palestine, nor Kuwait. So basically, the official term is stateless.
Yeah.
At the age of 8, the Gulf War happened, which probably we all remember, in my age, I guess. So Iraq invaded Kuwait, which put us in a situation where there's no country to go to. There's no place to flee to. We don't have a country to go to, so we had to stay through the war. The war happened for almost a couple of years. Through the war, there was a situation where the Iraqi authorities decided that we're going to open schools. So you have to go to schools. And my father, not knowing what can we do? We have 3 young kids. They have to go to school because education, and I don't know how long this is going to last. So they sent us to school where we had, for example, to say the national anthem under the guns, and and rifles pointed at us if you don't memorize it. So we had to memorize it by heart, or there will be a rifle pointed at you. You'll be pushed to the ground at the age of 8 and 9. We had to basically struggle for food, bread. There was no electricity, water, or food for almost a year, 8 months. We used to go out for the cars that people left and flee the country to get the battery, to make sure that there's a light for the little kids to manage around the house if needed. The lines for bread, because they give you a specific amount of bread per person. So an 8 years old or a 1 month old, we go to line up it's desert in Kuwait, like 45, 50 degrees, line up for hours just to get 5 or 3 pieces of bread for the week to come, or 10 days to come, till wherever they give us food. So that was an experience. You can see the terrified, tears and looks in your parents, and they can't do anything. At the end of that war, when everything settled, the Kuwaiti authorities decided that we shouldn't stay there. So they took my father in detention, basically. You can call it jail, you can call whatever. And they said, find a country to go to. So the options were, we don't have a country to go to. We can't go back to Palestine or Israel. This is not an option. We either go to a camp on the borders, like the ones that everyone sees in the news, or we live under the war in Iraq, or there's no other option. Now, my mom was originally Palestinian, but she was holding a Jordanian passport, but that does not mean anything at all. That doesn't give us any rights or citizenship or anything, as I've mentioned. However, she had a family in Jordan. So after a lot of struggle and probably, all kind of options, stuff, we got a visitor visa to Jordan. So we packed everything. They gave my father probably, I think, 3 days or 10 days out of detention to move out. There was a specific number of days. We packed everything, left, and I was 10 years old at that stage. And ever since, I lived in Jordan. So Jordan is my country. However, living in Jordan, that was also interesting. So in Jordan, when we arrived, we were on a visitor visa, which means we did not have a residency. So we couldn't go to school. So girls, children, we couldn't go to school. Actually, my sister my older sister, got pulled out of a class in the school by immigration, saying you don't have residency, you can't be there. So people with uniform came and pulled her out of a class at the age of 18.
Oh my goodness.
My older sisters missed a year of their education because they can't put them in the middle of the year, and we didn't have residencies Because I was younger, it was a bit different situation because nobody cared in which stage I am. So I moved quickly up. The way that we got in school is that after this struggle, my father went to his family in Palestine and said, I can't get my kids to go to school. This is not okay. They're children. So since we're refugees, can we get the United Nations card that basically says we're refugees?
Yeah.
Which we did. That meant that we had to go to the United Nations schools. So we went to the Alrayyes, United Nations schools. So every day, my mom would drop me off at the gate of the camp, where I go in, go to the school, and then she picks me up at the end of that school day at the camp gate, and we go home, because she was terrified. Every single day with no fail. No fail. From year 6 till I finished school, my mom never failed a day to pick me up and drop me off. This is the parents that I had around me. When we got the residency in Jordan after a couple of years, it was an annual residency. They don't give you a residency like New Zealand. I've never had the right to vote, never had any rights, to be honest. I was treated as a foreigner. We pay foreigner fees in schools and universities. We're not accepted in public universities. We couldn't work in public sector, tourism, financial sector, any of those sectors that matter.
Yeah.
And that was the life that we should live in. And we have to go and renew our residency yearly. So every year we go, we have to prove that we have income or money or anything. And we have to prove that there's no country that will accept us. So they will go, we'll go to your country, and we have that discussion where, which one? They go, okay, fine, we'll renew it for another year. 1 year. Yeah, so I've decided that, well, and my parents decided that the only weapon they can give me to fight is education. So they've put all their money, effort, and everything on hold and put it all on our education, the 3 of us. They went, you 3 of us, you go to university, get education, get experience, go find a country of your own that you belong to. My older sister is in Canada and she's Canadian. My middle sister decided to marry a Jordanian. Well, now she's divorced, but she stayed in Jordan.
Yeah.
And I've decided to go to university and study computer engineering, which gave us another kind of challenge.
Yes.
And and I've decided that this is the way that where I want to go. Now the other side of the story is I was a little bit competitive, you can say, sometimes.
Good.
Not now. I'm better now, but yeah, a bit competitive. So I decided to go in computer engineering, and my cohort was 660 men with 4 women. So I was the only woman in almost 99% of the classes.
Yeah.
I've heard things like, you shouldn't be here, you should wait for a husband, the end of your certificate is to be on a wall in a kitchen, you should be learning linguistic, sewing, maximum. We don't know why you do this. They shouldn't pay, your parents shouldn't pay money for an education for a woman in engineering. Engineering is not for you, and that was daily. Honestly, daily, 5 years, daily, 4.5, daily. Which made me end up proudly first on class. And my name is still on the wall of that university. I still go and visit it. I had support of amazing dean and great professors that I'm still friends with. They were really, honestly, my mentors, and they made everything easier because they knew what I'm facing. Because of that, I got hired directly in another big vendor, even before I got my certificates, to be honest. And I started my journey into the workforce. And it was my passport to the world, because I've never had a passport. Because it's a vendor and, a big company as well, it made it much easier. They guarantee me, it's like Microsoft. So I traveled the world on that. I got stopped in every single national security airport because I don't have a passport. Every visa takes months to be issued, which takes us to the workplace. And the workplace, as you can imagine as well, in Jordan wasn't really easy. I was paid when I was on the top of my game. I was paid way less than my colleagues. At one stage, it was 1/3 of my male colleagues, while I was on the top talent board, got awards, 3 awards in 1 year, but I was still paid less. I got pregnant at work, and the reaction was, you should have planned it with us because we're going to lose a quarter of business. So yeah, most of the time I was the only woman of most of the teams, most of the conferences, most of the discussions. So I had to find a country of my own. It's the minute we came here as skilled migrants, and the minute we step in the airport, this is probably what people don't know. When you go to immigration to do the papers. So when you go to immigration, it was the last time I went to like national security and immigration ever. The minute you go to immigration, the officer takes your residency and they say, "Welcome home," and put me in tears for a long time. It still does, God. Yeah, and that was the time that I found home. And this is my home, and this is my country, and this is where I always will be paying back. Yeah, I voted for the first time in New Zealand, and I'll always be here.
I hope those immigration officers also understand the power of their words. Like,
I don't know.
That means,
no, they should.
Yeah. Because that's right. It's almost
my son was 6 months old, and I was in tears in the airport. Yeah, or probably it was the long journey. Yes.
And what made you decide New Zealand was going to be the place you came to?
Is there any other amazing place in the world?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's heaven on earth.
It is.
Yes.
It's an amazing story, Samar.
So it's a humble story. Again, I really need to say that for also when people listening to this, there are lots of people who were not as lucky as I was. I was lucky to have very understanding parents. I was lucky to have parents who managed to have savings to put us in school and in universities. I was lucky to be hired by a vendor on the time that I graduated. I was just lucky. Yes, we worked hard. Yes, there were opportunities that I just wouldn't let them go. But I was lucky, and I hope that one day I get to offer that luck to someone who's struggling, someone who didn't see that opportunity. Just give them the opportunity, because I'm pretty sure that there are more brilliant people, just we don't know where they are. Yeah.
And they'll take that opportunity with 2 hands and never let it go.
Yes.
Incredible. Which leads us into communities.
Yeah.
And communities can be all kinds of things. They can be knitting groups, and they can be rugby clubs, and everything in between, walking groups. But talk to us about the communities that you're a part of, and what you get from those groups, but also how you can contribute to those groups.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm a co-chair for NZTech Women, and I started that empowering women journey back in Jordan as well. So I was part of the corporate social responsibility for my employer. Because I've realized, as you can see, that there are challenges that we can overcome and we can help others. So it's really trying to help and empower women into not only the workplace, but for them to actually be stronger and can overcome all the challenges that we get from the community. We get judged a lot. We have a bit more obstacles, let's put it that way. And we need to learn and how support each other. As NZTech Women co-chair, we work with very passionate women in the tech industry in New Zealand in order to try to attract more women to the workplace, maintain them, and help each other to grow and be strong, to have more women on the board, to have the right support and training, to have opportunities, to get women who decided to leave for any reason to return to work and feel comfortable. It takes a lot of work. It's very humble, and it's always going to be early stage, always, because there's a lot to do. And we depend on people this is all volunteering, who are just juggling time, family, everything, but they still want to be there because they want to give back. Because like me, we want to make sure that others have an opportunity. We want to make sure that the future is brighter. I want to make sure that my son grows up in a place where he should be. So that's what I do with that part of the business, of the community. When we moved to New Zealand, I have my son who was 6 months old, and I've decided that I need to quickly be part of the community and be quickly, I need to be a Kiwi. quickly. So I've registered to do my MBA. So I've done my MBA in Massey University in management, and with a 1-year-old, that was a bit complicated. Yeah, and I was working full time as well. So out of that MBA, the thing that happened is that I was really focused on how the startups and small businesses work. How can we add to the business as well? How can I use my knowledge to help people? Yep. Which led to me now being an advisor to the board of director of Maxa, which is an IoT and artificial intelligence startup, as part of Bridgewest Ventures that takes funding from Callaghan as well, and Bridgewest, which is an amazing New Zealand initiative to make sure that startups can be successful and go out to the world to export our knowledge and, the Kiwi genuality, because we're really good here, but how do we get it more and help the economy as well and our people. I help also the other boards with advisory, and I'm very happy and humbled just to be there. It's a two-way. You get to learn a lot because, as you see, my experience is all in vendors. You get to learn a lot, and I bring those humble small businesses from the MBA because you get to work with real small businesses. It's not theory; it's actually you go and help. And I bring the leadership, the coaching, the mentoring, and it's a female founder as well.
Oh, brilliant!
So it's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. And and then they get to get that advisor, because you've mentioned this, as a startup you get really down in the weeds of how to survive and how to do all the work, and so I can see the future brighter. The other thing that I do, I try as much as possible, and it's a bit ad hoc, to help refugees in their settlements. So I tried last year to focus on the women victims from the Christchurch attack. So we tried to go there and have planned training and skilling to try to help them to be independent, to get a job, to find their way. It's very complicated. That experience made me so humble, where you think sometimes that you're struggling and you're challenged and all of this, but then you hear others and you go, we had no idea, did we? The happiest moment that I got is a few months after that. One of the participants sent an email to us and partners that worked with us. We were not only Microsoft, it was the partners as well, and the tech women and everyone, to be honest. Sent us an email saying, I just want to thank you so much. I've landed my first job ever with New Zealand Stats, so government, and you've changed my life. And I think that's why we do what we do.
It is.
Yeah, we just try to get other people to find opportunities.
And just one person is...
One person, exactly. One person.
You don't have to change the world, you just change someone's
one person at a time.
Yeah.
I keep saying, some people say to me, you're always busy, you can just drop all of these. And I go, my goal is just if one person either listens or get anything out of anything I do, and I get to get them to be in a better place. I don't even need to know about it. I will be the happiest person ever. It will be the goal of my life, the objective that I want to. It's just get somebody to somehow maybe feel better or find a better purpose or actually change their life.
Incredible. You are. Please always know that. That's all of those things, all those give backs. People get busy and they often have a great excuse as to why they can't. And
oh God, I do.
Busy's not a, we can. There's some small thing we can do that will.
Yeah, and when I have time, because English is not my first language, so I'm fluent in mother tongue in Arabic. So when I have time, I've registered in the interpreting organization. So I volunteer hours where I go and interpret for people who are Arabic speakers who who struggle with English. And the things that you see, honestly, because mostly there are people that came out of war. They don't know how to settle. They have problems with children, problems with trauma. They don't know what to do. And you sit on those translation sessions where you have no opinion, no feelings, no face. And you just do the interpreting and you have to leave that room and deal with yourself. Wow. That's how it works.
Wow.
That's how it works. And when I have time, because I mentioned this, as a startup, you get really down in the weeds of how to do all the work, and you just do the interpreting and you have to leave that room and deal with yourself. That's how it works. Wow. That's how it works.
Wow. And I mean, that brings us into a really good question around, like in Aotearoa we have a lot of diverse groups, so it's not, we're not doing well managing our diverse groups, I don't think, and ensuring that people feel a sense of belonging here. We can do so much better. We need to get racism squashed, you know. We need to ensure that we're not divisive in our community and that we're accepting and we have perspectives of what people are coming into our country with. Like, this is a safe, beautiful place. People are excited to be here, and then we've got this racism stuff going on, and that's not just to, you know, our Māori people are getting the same kind of treatment. So do you have any ideas or any things that you could say to somebody who is listening to this to be more open-minded or more accepting or more helpful to people who belong here just as much as everybody else?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be done, and I would put it a bit more into judgment. It's a bit poor judgment and ignorance rather than racism comes off ignorance and poor judgment in the first place. I would say to people, whenever you can travel, please prioritize that. It gives you perspective. It teaches you that we're not alone in this world. Encourage your kids to go out, and by travel, don't go for a holiday for a couple of days. Go out, sit with the people, understand how they think, understand. And I would say what we can do is that we can build way more better platform for awareness and knowledge. If we teach our children that we're different, and if we show them that people are different, and we can educate people on how we are different, then we might have a better generation in the future, because it's just knowledge. We need to open our eyes and respect each other.
Yes.
We just need to respect each other and each other's space. And that comes with knowledge. So we really need to put a lot of effort in knowledge, and we have to be more focused on all kind of races, all kind of different, not only race, to be honest, diverse and different people of all kind of things, gender, whatever, call it, it's there, it's whatever it is. It's called inclusion. We have to stop treating it as diversity, because that's basically you're discriminating on diversity, and treat it as inclusive place. So we don't know, we don't care. All what we need to focus on is that everyone is included, and they were educating about differences. Honestly, there's a lot to do, because there are unconscious biases as well. It's not necessarily to be something that people intend and like do it with intention, and the only way that you get out of it by information. To be honest, it's just
and hearing it when it's shared with you, not kind of coming in with an opinion or an idea, you know. That is, we're not attacking. We just, there's something
just
to
talking,
learn.
discussing. Yes. I think the unconscious bias is happening a lot more than we even understand, and nobody is, you know, completely not doing that. Like, I'm guilty. Everyone is guilty of doing this, because you carry with you your culture, your place, your thinking, your religion sometimes, whatever you come with. And naturally, you'll be doing what you're used to do. So challenging that is very complicated and very difficult for people. However, knowledge will get them to understand that it's a thing. So you need to basically just focus on what you're doing and your actions.
Try and, one of my things I've been talking to a few people about lately is try and not just watch the same stuff you watch, or listen to the same podcasts that you listen to, or read the same books from the same authors, but get out of that and learn about something different, or hear, I don't know why my voice has gone all funny, just hear a different viewpoint, hear a different experience, instead of just constantly sort of staying in that lane. Come out of it and just be challenged, hear something different and be like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way, or because it's going to start a conversation to go and learn more. So
and get out of your comfort zone. And I know, you know, people have different personalities, that not everyone's comfortable of getting out of the comfort zone, but that's why we call it comfort zone, right? This is important. I think the importance of it is the lacking part is it's not only to build character and build your business and career, it's actually to build a community. It's to build a future. It's to focus on your kids. And that what should come across, that we're not doing this only for personal selfish reasons, but we're also doing this because you care.
View.
Yes, because you're part of that community. You can't just isolate yourself.
That's beautiful. And when we talk about environment, we talk about lots of different things. We talk about the home environments and our work environments and sustainability, but what we've talked about today talks about that environment that you're creating around yourself and what you're putting out and what you're allowing to come back, if that makes sense, and what you tolerate and what you don't. So talk us through sort of some strategies or some things that you've seen happen that really promote an inclusive work environment for people to flourish and thrive.
Yeah, so some of the things come from the workplace. And I know I speak a lot about Microsoft, I shouldn't.
No, you can.
Microsoft had a lot of focus on this. So there were a few trainings that were taking us through how to be better allies. And I like this word. It's just a very good word. Because by being an ally, you basically drop everything aside and you just try to be an ally for that person, how to support them. So you come with the mindset of listening and coaching and understanding how you can help, rather than judging and telling and instruct what should be and shouldn't be in your opinion.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. So it's knowledge. So we go through a lot of training as employees to understand what we don't understand.
Yeah.
And we are encouraged to be curious. So we have a lot of push into how do you get to be curious about the things that you don't know, about what's not comfortable for you, about what is something that you don't understand. Don't be scared, come and ask.
Yeah.
So we are trying to have that safe place where questions are encouraged. If you don't know where I come from, why my accent looks like this, why my hair is curly, come and ask me. So rather than, just avoiding me or have a judgment, come and speak to me.
Yeah.
And if you see that other people are doing this with other people, go and encourage it. Go and check, is everything all right? Are you feeling okay? Do you need help? And keep it. This is the thing, is that keep it as well. Keep the confidence that they build in you.
Yeah.
We get also, this is becoming, not becoming actually, it's been there since I've joined Microsoft. It's a big pillar of our success yearly. It's the stable and steady pillar in our success.
Wow.
Things change on what you need to do to be successful, but inclusion and diversity sits there forever and sits there as the infrastructure of everything we do. So
amazing.
We get asked all the time, what are you doing about it? What impact you're bringing to others? What did they help you do as well? So we focus on those pillars continuously, and you find yourself naturally, without even, intending to do it, doing it in your life. You start thinking, what impact did you start? We start using the word impact in everything sometimes, overused, but we use it. It just makes your life go in that direction anyway, because you're practicing it, you're living it. It's part of your life.
And you're cultivating it as almost a
It's a way of
non-negotiable.
living.
Yeah. Because what I find is around that environment you create around yourself, but people have values, and so like two of my non-negotiables are that I connect when in any environment that I'm in, I'm connecting, and then I'm useful. But what you don't want to have is like being connected in this environment but feeling completely disconnected in another. If I know that connection's important to me, then I need to do that everywhere. So inclusion and diversity needs to be everywhere. That's not just a workplace
It's everywhere,
thing,
exactly. It's not a workplace.
So it's fantastic.
It's a lifestyle.
That it is. It should just be in every environment that you're in. It's the same like integrity, that you act the same way regardless, and you care about the humans that are around you.
Absolutely.
It's pretty powerful. My goodness. And one thing you did talk about as well around workplaces was like how we hire people, and often we can know a friend of a friend, or we we've heard about a person from a person, and often they're from the same groups that we've been running in for a while. But how important it is to look outside of that when we're hiring, to ensure that we're getting the right people rather than people that are the easy grabs, So sort of talk us through a bit of experience around that.
You just touched on a nerve here, and a very critical one where it drives me completely crazy. I'm very passionate about this, and I keep criticizing that process all the time. People are not very happy with me. We have a very elegant way of talking about this. We call it connections. And we justify it with, it's just your connections. Build a connection do this and do that, whether it's on LinkedIn or go on a, it's a network. It's just networking. This is network. And we forget that network is not inclusive. Network means what you know, who you know, the way that you've always been doing things does not include people out of that circle.
Yeah.
Which is not okay.
No.
Network is good because, you build that network, you build the knowing of people, but you always have to have that room where you remind myself, these are the people I know, this is the way that I always lived, this is my comfort zone, what's beyond? So you always have to go, what's beyond that? If the manager who hired me to come to New Zealand did not have an open mind, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Just
to be completely blunt about it. Yes, probably I had more interviews so they can see if I am culture fit, which is their right, which also gives you the question why especially this country was the one that we needed to see. But it doesn't matter. But he was open-minded to put the risk in me. And look where I am. So this is the thing is that we have to be open-minded. If we don't do that, we will never give opportunities to the people that we keep talking about as, we need to include them. It's not on paper. It has to be in practice. And hiring is the main big one that we can do as an action today to help in this in the future.
It's incredibly powerful. I hope many bosses and many leaders are listening to that message. So our last topic of the day is portion distortion, and we talk about it in a lens that, regardless of age, regardless of where we've come from or what our jobs are, and we all struggle with time, and time is it's the number one problem for anybody across New Zealand and the world really. Of we can't fit enough in, or we don't have time for this, and so talk to us. What are some current or some previous struggles that you've faced around time?
Oh my God, I wish I could say previous, but it keeps going worse rather than better, which is maybe this is where I need to put a lot of effort and fix this part of my life. I have my son 1 week and, every other week. And the other week, for the last, 4 or 5 months, every other week I'm traveling. Either in here or in Sydney or in the US lately.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm either packing or unpacking or getting along with school and pickups and drop-offs and meetings and all of this. So time hasn't been very kind to me lately.
Oh my
goodness. But I believe it's also on me. I'm not making time to pause and sit and reflect and then understand what my priorities are. I keep saying, my father lives in Jordan because I can't get him out because he's Palestinian. I lost my mom a long time ago for cancer, just to add to the life that I had. And I haven't seen him for 4 years. And he's getting older. He's going to turn 80 this year. And I keep keep saying, I need to go and see him. But I don't get the time to actually sit and pin it in my calendar. If Carol is hearing that, she will go completely crazy on me because yesterday she called me specifically and she went, you assign me the days you're leaving because I don't want you to be here. You have to take time. You need time.
I love Carol Brown.
She's going, you need time. Give me that date. And I'm going, but I can't. She's like, yes, you can. This is the difference, right? So I'm lucky I have, good leaders around me. And I think I should listen. I should just sit down and understand what I need to do, because it was also, how do I put this? In the part where I was struggling and I'm trying to get out of it, I was trying to get the strategy where I live day to day. And day to day means you have to get very busy in that day, so you can get off of that day to manage to get out of the bed the next day. And the day after, and the day after. Sounds like I got used to it. And this is not good. So now I have to look at myself and go into that strategy. It's not a strategy. It was for a specific reason. And now I have to get into how do you live life? How do you have normal time to spend with your son, or with yourself, with people, and with work? So how do you get life together? It's a big struggle, and I have a lot of respect for people who do it nicely. I would like to learn a lot from them.
But you've already talked about some strategies you can put in place, and that, you know, when you first said it, like, you know, you sort of know what you need to do there.
But you never get to do it.
Yeah, it's just that wheel that we sit on, and it's just being able to have people who know us really well, like Carol, who can go, no,
stop it.
You know, you need this, so how are we going to do this? You know, it's really important, and it's really important to make time for the things that bring you joy, right? Like that time with your son. That's time to not be worrying about everything else that's going on and just be where you are and be with him. It's pretty. The gift of time is a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah.
Right, I have some quick fire questions for you.
Oh God.
Here we go.
I always struggle with that part.
3 things that made you smile today.
So in the morning, because my son told me that I need to check if Auckland has better Pokemon. I've got a shiny Pokemon. Please, oh God, I can't believe I'm even saying that. And it just made me laugh. I was in the hotel in the morning going, oh my God, look how my life now turned into. Yeah, and I was so happy to call him in the morning because we said we have that good morning call. It's like, I caught a shiny. That's like, I laughed about this more than the 3 things together. I was like, oh my God, well, look what I'm doing now.
That is it's priceless. Yeah. Favorite books?
I read all kinds of books because I can't, like, I'm not a person who just reads business, because I read business, I read religion, I read some weird stuff. Because I don't know, I just like the books that makes me think differently. Yeah. But there's a very cliche, it's going to sound very cliche as well, because many people know that book and it's like a classic. But I like it for a specific reason. I like The Alchemist. Yes. Because it speaks a lot about the journey, and all the learning is in the journey, not in the destination at all. That when he reaches the destination doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. And it just makes sense. And what I like about it is that if you read it in different stages in your life, you take it differently.
It's different things.
Yeah. So I probably read it twice or 3 times.
Wow.
And 2.5, but every time, like, keep a gap of years and then read it again, and then you find it different.
I think you're like the 3rd or 4th person in our interviews to recommend that book, so I'm going to have to go get that book now and find out. But you're right around the journeys. A woman said it to me the other day, actually, in a meeting we were in. She said, I want to be a signpost for people. I don't want to be the destination.
Yes.
And
I like that.
That was incredibly powerful. She wants to be someone that people can come to get the next part, and then they carry on their journey. And I was like, that is incredibly powerful. Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. 3 favorite smells.
I would do anything, honestly, to go back in time and have the smell of my mother's cooking, and especially the baking that she used to do in Eid, the first day of Eid, where you can smell, for the people who speak Arabic, ka'kab ajwa, which is like the sweets of Eid, and the coffee in the house, and her cooking in general, because the first day of Eid there's a big meal that we have. I'll do anything to do that, honestly. Yes, which is funny because you don't think about these things when you're in it. No. However, on the bright side, I really love intoxicating gardenias and jasmine. Yeah. You can find me and looking for perfumes that have gardenias in them for some reason. Yeah, I'm that person.
See you walking around the shop.
Yes, I like that.
Okay. Yes. I know you're there.
Yeah.
What makes you laugh?
Smart, cheeky jokes. So I like the jokes that has, you know, something smart in them that makes you go, oh, that's funny. Yeah, I think that's the one.
Nice. Yeah. First job?
As I said, I was hired directly out of university with Oracle. Yep. And I came with them to New Zealand. Yeah.
Ticket to New Zealand. Go to pick-me-up songs or any music that you love.
All right. As a joke, and it's gonna stick in your head forever. It's a SpongeBob song. Do not listen to it. He put it on my Spotify so I can listen to it in the car, and every time it comes, I go, no, we can't keep this in the car. I guess I'm doing a lot of kids stuff lately. There's lots of Arabic songs that make sense, so it's not gonna make sense here. There's a song that comes also from a kids movie for Shakira. Yeah. That says, I'll try again. That I know it's kids, but it's just it gets me back into, you have to try again, and basically the words is just every time you fall you have to try again.
I know exactly what song you're talking about.
See?
This morning before I came here, I was listening to the Lion King soundtrack. No,
Here you go, see?
but all of them
Can't we
have
have
great,
problems?
they've got great messages.
Yes.
I can blame it on my 3 kids, but
Yeah.
really I did it myself. 3 things you're grateful for today.
Oh, there are lots. There are lots. The health of my son and myself and my family. I'm grateful to be here today. That's a thing. Be here, be who I am, finish my school, my university, be in an executive, great team, be in the company I'm working on, be in New Zealand. Lots of things to be grateful for. Honestly, if I go in that list, I don't know where to stop.
Ooh, we should have started at the start. It could just been a whole interview. Grateful's list. Favourite concert?
God, Guns N' Roses. It has to be Guns
Yeah,
N' Roses,
yeah.
right?
Gotcha.
Right.
I haven't been.
Scream. Oh, God.
There
They're
you go.
coming.
Are they?
You have a chance.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell my husband.
Yeah.
Hobbies.
Ouch. I need to put a list of hobbies. Like, I need to have hobbies, if that makes sense.
Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, Pokemon Go. Yeah, I should stop talking about that, though. I would like to go and play badminton,
Yeah.
honestly. I would like to, the thing that I really enjoy and I absolutely don't get time to do is shooting.
Okay.
I really love it.
Yeah.
It's just, for some reason it gives me joy. Like,
Yeah.
I leave that place going, oh God, it's just so happy place.
A friend of mine used to do it after school twice a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Then
There's
it's
a proper
doable.
place in Hamilton. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably I'll go back and find a place where I get to do shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was surely Auckland.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does a recovery day look like for you? So when you're not working and running around everywhere, what does a recovery day look like for you to get ready to go again?
Right. I can't remember the last one or how it looks like, but it's definitely going to be very, very lazy. Like, it has to be lazy. If it's not in where I live, because in Wellington it's impossible to have that weather for it, but it would be next to a swimming pool or in the swimming pool and just sitting there, if it's not,
Yeah.
Or it could be, to be honest, my closest friend lives in Jordan, just going out with her for a coffee. Long coffee or whatever it is, but long chat will be all what I needed. When I used to be there, every time we have a hard day, we'd just go out and sometimes we just sit in silence. You know that feeling?
Beautiful.
That's all what I
Don't
want.
need to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that with my dad. We could just sit there for an hour.
Forever.
And just don't need to say a word.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
Just get each other. Don't have to fill the space.
Yes.
Qualities you love about yourself.
I was recently told in one of the customer engagements that I'm working with that my best quality is that I'm brave, that I have the courage to approach the things that could be scary and ask the hard questions. Apparently, it's something that I should be knowing about myself. And I thought, when he said that, I thought, well, you know, people don't really like it in me, by the way. He was like, this is your best quality ever, don't lose it.
Yeah.
And that touched me deep. So I think I am brave.
You are.
I think I am.
You are.
So yeah, I guess that one. I think it's also, to be honest, it's a weakness as well. I sometimes get involved a lot with the people I'm working with or talking to or in my lives that I take it a bit personally, that I want to help them honestly and sincerely, that I get so involved and so attached that every little thing sometimes hurt, and this is not good. However, I think it's also the care that we need to bring a difference and change.
Yeah.
So I don't really like it in myself, but it's actually, I actually like it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a genuine care.
It's a care that we need. This is how we change the world. This is how we do better.
Yeah.
And I keep keeping myself, I try to keep myself distant. So I push so actually it's a learning, like, you know, a training, I push myself, this is not so good, get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when I laugh, I try to laugh with all my heart.
I call it my belly laughter. Like, that's the laughs you want, like not just like a polite, like, haha, and then people hide their smile.
Yes, this
like,
is not good.
And I'm like, just get in. Those are the moments that giving you another year on your life. Like those are the moments that you remember as those deep, beautiful.
There's no smile unless there's teeth in it. That's what it is.
I used to get embarrassed because I'm a gummy smiler, and I used to get hassled for it.
No.
Like, God, you don't have to pull the whole thing out. And I'm like, I can't help you.
No, it's
They just come
beautiful.
out.
It's who you are.
But yeah,
it's beautiful.
and so I did. For years. Anyway,
God, no.
but no.
Yes.
Full belly
Good on
laughter,
you.
full heart laughter.
Good on
I
you.
loved it. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been wonderful. It is heartbreaking and heart-filling all at the same time for the story that you've had, and though it's many people's stories, this one's yours, and I'm just so grateful that you shared it with us. So thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to hear the feedback from everybody down the barrel that are watching this, because there are some really important takeaways, particularly if I narrowed it down to me today. It's just caring about humans and connecting and knowing who they are and really digging past the surface to understand. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. It's my pleasure. It's honestly, it's an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time. Ka kite.